Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside the Cage, where we bring you the latest and exciting updates of UFC. First, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. A big announcement for UFC 293 by Dana White. Recently, Dana White has confirmed that he's heading down under for the hyped UFC 293 card in Sydney. And guess what? It's all thanks to a Foxtel group with whom a newly multi-year deal they signed. A nice deal to start for sure, but that's not all. UFC Australia boss Dave Shaw also revealed that the Octagon will now be holding 2 shows every year. It's great news for Australian MMA enthusiasts. During a recent visit to Sydney to promote ticket sales for the September 10th event, Shaw confirmed that Australia is now a permanent fixture on the UFC calendar. Starting in January 2024, all UFC pay-per-view events will be exclusively broadcasted on both KO Sports and Main Event on Foxtel. While Dana White was thrilled about the extension of the broadcast deal and happily announced that he'll be jetting down under for the Sydney event in September, White said, "Foxtel and KO Sports are the best sports broadcasters in the country, and they have backed UFC in Australia since the beginning. I can't wait to get back to Sydney for UFC 293 this September. See you then, Australia." Whereas, Foxtel Group's CEO has announced an exciting new deal for Aussie MMA. With headliners like Alexander Volkanovski and Robert Whittaker, Australian MMA is at the point of a golden era. For 15 years, we have been bringing the biggest UFC fights to Australian audiences, Delaney said. It's the perfect match for our more than 3 million sports subscribers streaming on KO Sports and Foxtel. Furthermore, UFC made a triumphant return to Australia after a 3-year absence. It was epic. Here's the jaw-dropping part. The event pulled in an overwhelming gate of $5.8 million. That's the highest-grossing event ever for any ground in Australia. And the excitement doesn't stop there. On September 10th, we'll get to witness another thrilling event, UFC 293, happening at Kudos Bank Arena. Damn, it's a big deal. So, Sydney fans, get ready for some intense action. TUF 31, Episode 9, first semifinal disappoints Dana White. Once again, the Team McGregor and Team Chandler went head-to-head in Episode 9 of TUF. And you know, it was intense. There were 2 teammates from Team Chandler, Austin Hubbard and Roosevelt Roberts, facing off in the lightweight bout. Honestly, Dana White wasn't too thrilled with the fight. But dude, not every match can be a barn burner, right? The season has been running from May 30th to August 15th, and we can expect the live finale to happen later this year. As for Episode 9, it seems like there were some interesting developments. While the fight between Hubbard and Roberts was pretty evenly matched, both fighters showed a lot of respect for each other's skills. In round 1, they started a bit tentatively, but eventually things picked up. They traded kicks and punches, with Hubbard finding success with leg kicks. In round 2, Roberts tried for a few submissions, but Hubbard defended well. They both showed some good striking, but neither could secure a definitive finish. As the fight went into the final round, it was still pretty close. Hubbard maintained his aggression, while Roberts had some solid moments on his feet. It was a tight match until the very end, while Dana White gave his statement. "Regardless of who the judges have winning this fight, I was not impressed," White said. "We want guys in the UFC who take control of the finish. You would think Roosevelt and Austin would know that considering they've both been here before, but they weren't aggressive. Whoever wins this, I just hope they look better in the finale." So yeah, it was an exciting episode for all the fight fans out there, and now we can't wait to see how the rest of the season unfolds. Guys, if you're enjoying the video, we'd love your support. Just hit that subscribe button to motivate us to bring you more exciting content. McGregor faces rejection from UFC Contenders in an embarrassing way. You know, Conor McGregor's team had a tough run on the reality show. And guess what? Some of the contestants weren't too thrilled with the idea of switching over to his side. Certainly, out of the 7 prospects from McGregor's team, all of them got beaten by Michael Chandler's squad of seasoned veterans during the season. Ouch! Now, here's where things get interesting. Because of all those losses, 2 members of Team Chandler were supposed to switch teams. But guess what? They weren't too keen on the idea, but despite his objections, they had to go along with the change. During TUF, Michael Chandler's fighter, Jason Knight, threatened to leave the show if he was switched to another team. We outclassed them, beat them 7-1. I'm staying with Team Red, Team Chandler. I love our coaches. I love the way we train. I'm not a fan of Conor McGregor, and I'm not a fan of the way they've been training." In a shocking upset, McGregor's teammate Lee Hammond was tapped out by Hollabaugh despite winning most of the fight, while McGregor was devastated by the result. On the other hand, one member of Team Chandler, Brad Katona, was happy to be switched to McGregor's team. "Switching teams for some could be a difficult proposition," Katona said. "For me, my best position to proceed is to be reunited with my coach John Kavanagh, as well as my nutritionist Tristan. Brad Katona, McGregor's teammate, is going to face off against Timur Valiev in the bantamweight semifinal. No doubt it's going to be one intense matchup. And here's the best part. All the finalists from this season will be competing at UFC 292 on August 20th in Boston. However, it's a pay-per-view event, and it's headlined by none other than Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. Andrew Tate's fight challenge met with Cerrone's threat. Now the world of UFC is heating up just because of the contribution from the side of none other than Andrew Tate. A podcaster, Adam22, spilled the beans that Cerrone wasn't too impressed with Tate's fighting skills. Now, here comes the juicy part. Tate didn't take that comment lying down. He fired back by challenging Cerrone to put his money where his mouth is and test his skills against him anytime he wants. Man, just imagine that matchup. Both Tate and Cerrone are fierce fighters in their own right, and if they ever step into the ring or the cage together, it's going to be one intense showdown. It's always exciting when fighters from different disciplines clash, and this one has the potential to be an absolute thriller. If he thinks I can't fight, then if he wants to tell me to my face and kick my ass, he's welcome to try. I strongly believe he will regret that decision. And that's as far as I need to take it," said Tate. Cerrone saw Tate's comments and went off on the top G in an Instagram video. "Back in the day when I and Joe Schilling used to watch videos of you to try and want to fight you, you always ran like a little girl your entire career. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna knock the S out of you. I'm a real fighter. You're a fake BS wannabe fighter who made up a bunch of world championship belts that you bought off eBay." At this point, we can't wait to see how this beef unfolds. Let's hope they settle it in a friendly competition. Alex Pereira fixed light heavyweight with unfinished business. Last but not least, Alex Pereira turned 36 this year. And the exciting part is, there was no time for him to celebrate his birthday in style. You know he was completely focused on preparing for his light heavyweight debut against Jan Blachowicz this weekend. That's some serious commitment right there. "I'm very focused on the fight," he said through his coach and translator Plinio Cruz. "No party." Moreover, he's going to face off against Jan Blachowicz in the co-main event of this weekend's UFC 291 pay-per-view in Salt Lake City. But you know what's interesting? Pereira's move to light heavyweight comes just a few months after he dropped the middleweight title back to Israel Adesanya at UFC 287 in Miami. Surely he made quick decisions. "I'm always motivated, but now I feel it even more because when I was fighting those middleweight fights, it took a toll on my body. It was hard," said Pereira, who stands 6'4" and looks like a monster even when standing next to UFC heavyweight Parker Porter, who spent time with the light heavyweight new arrival ahead of this weekend's fight. "I always made it, I can still make it, but my body needed a little break because it was 5 cuts in a year." But wait, there is more. For his fight against Jan Blachowicz, Pereira has an added advantage. He gets to train every single day with Glover Teixeira. It helps a lot. The experience and everything he's been through with him. He can tell us how to do stuff and how not to do stuff. Pereira talked about training with Teixeira. Before Jamahal Hill got sidelined with a torn Achilles, Pereira was already pumped up for facing Blachowicz. He even thought it might be a bigger challenge than his bout with Sweet Dreams for the belt. And here's the interesting point. Pereira has some unfinished business that he'd like to take care of after this fight, as long as it still makes sense. I wonder what he's got up his sleeve next. "If Adesanya isn't the champ, there is no reason to call him out," he added. "But if everything goes well, I want to have the trilogy at middleweight." It's clear that Pereira is on fire right now, and trust me, Pereira will bring his A-game to the octagon. All right, guys, that's all for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Until then, goodbye.